Welcome into the Devil's Digest game preview as Arizona State gets set to host number 7 Texas Tech here in Tempe this coming Saturday. For publisher Hooker Bino, I'm Justin Lastratosa. Before we get into things, we'd quickly like to thank our sponsors, starting with Burrito Express. 100% fresh ingredients and authentic recipes. The best burrito in the Valley, and you get a bang for your buck as well. Some great deals. They sponsor various ASU athletes to NIL and have 9 locations in the Valley that are not counting all of their fast and fresh Circle K locations. So for more information, go to theburritoexpress.com. And another thank you to our other sponsor in Santan Ford. No car dealership in the Valley has helped hook up ASU players with more vehicles than Santan Ford. So if you're in the market for a new or used car, head up to Val Vista and the 202 freeway. Go to Santan Ford, and they'll hook you up on a sweet new deal. Now, Hode, obviously, after a 32-point loss in Utah, all conditions and things considered, the vibes surely weren't high for this ASU team. And while there's a lot to fix on the field, there's just as much to fix off the field as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that, because I think when it comes to physicality, Justin, it's not just being able to bench 350 or squat 500 pounds in the weight room. It's also really just a mindset. And I feel that ASU going into that Utah game, and maybe they saw what happened with the Utes against Texas Tech a couple weeks earlier when they were able to beat them in Salt Lake, and probably thinking they're just as good as Texas Tech. And we'll find out this week, obviously, if that's the case or not. But nonetheless, I just feel that there definitely was a complacency to this ASU team. And to me, it's really incomprehensible in a way, because first of all, Kenny Dillingham has been asked 1,000 times in the preseason, how do you guard against complacency? And he said that first meeting with the team back after the Peach Bowl, he basically put that complacency aspect to bed. And he felt that the team was also projecting that they're able to put 2024 behind them, knowing that this is a brand new season, even though maybe not a brand new team, with 80% of the roster coming back from that 11-win season in the Big 12 championship. He still felt that the players were able to turn the page in a positive manner. But when you see what happened against Utah, it really was disappointing. And let's face it, and we talked about it every post game, that even the wins for ASU up to that point, none of them was extra convincing. Sure, it's great that you're back to winning close games, but those 2 wins at Baylor and TCU in Big 12 play definitely were not wins where ASU played good 4 quarters of football, but not even probably a good 3 quarters of football in some cases. So it really was disappointing just to be so nonchalant going into the Utah game, and that's why it reflected the way it did. Sure, not having Sam Leavitt did hurt. Sam Leavitt is going to be back on Saturday, but the way the offense played, the way the defense played especially, that was really, really uncharacteristic. If there's any silver lining here, I feel that the whole narrative about, ASU is going to be the hunted and not the hunter this season, and that's going to be a new thing for ASU to adjust. I think after that Utah loss, that narrative is out of the window, and now it's flipped on its head. ASU is definitely being the hunter now, and not the hunted. They were a near touchdown underdog in Utah, and now they're a touchdown underdog at home against Texas Tech. And the only reason why they're not a 10-point underdog as the week started is because Sam Leavitt is returning to the lineup. So if ASU is looking back, wanting to be that disrespected team, trying to prove everything to everybody, I think this game does provide an opportunity, and it definitely has to provide a different mindset, much different than it was this time last week.
Yeah, and Sam Leavitt currently listed as probable to play. Kenny Dillingham has said that he's liked the way he's been moving in practice, so a lot of positive signs trending in him playing in this game. But even just not at the quarterback position, there were a lot of things to fix from ASU's offense against Utah, and one position group in particular.
One position group in particular is offensive line. I don't want to sound like I'm copying and pasting my Utah preview here, but I said, and that's with the healthy Ben Coleman, that ASU does not have now at his disposal, that the offensive line really has not played all that well up until the Utah game. They're going to have to prove a lot against a very good Utah defense. If they can help the offense, and really the entire team for that matter, come away with a win. We know exactly what happened. Utah had 5 sacks, I believe, 10 tackles for loss, absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage. And here comes Texas Tech, number 1 defense in the Big 12. they're averaging 12.2 points, 256 yards. So now you're playing a unit that is maybe not country mile better than Utah, but definitely better than Utah. Oh, and by the way, on your offensive line right now, you don't have Ben Coleman. You're still going to have Wade Helton, a redshirt freshman, lining up at center. I don't think he was horrible compared to his teammates in Salt Lake City, but now he has even a bigger task at hand. Jameto Bigbo returned to his starting left guard position because of the injury to Ben Coleman. And now there's a chance that freshman Makai Stewart might either play ahead of him or maybe take some of those reps from him. So to have potentially not one, but two freshmen playing on the offensive line against a monster defensive line for the Red Raiders, even if you want to show that you are able to engineer some turnaround and play much better than last week, Texas Tech isn't exactly the opponent that you really get to prove it against. So I'm really curious to see, the matchup over there, and maybe the offensive line is able to really surprise all of us. But I think much like the Utah game, the game is going to rise and fall on the play of the offensive line. Having Sam Levitt there is great, but Sam Levitt is going to need room to operate. And with his injured right foot, you wonder how much he's really going to scramble, whether it's throwing bootlegs, whether it's moving the chains with his feet, just because of the condition of his foot. I mean, it's not going to be 100%. Obviously, it's good enough to play on Saturday, and that's great news. But I'm curious to see if the offensive line can give him the protection that he needs, not only to find Jordan Tyson, but really just spread the ball like he did against TCU when he had eight different wide receivers, or 8 different receivers, I should say, in the passing game being involved. And I think this is a Texas Tech defense, which, as stout as it is, sometimes in coverage, especially in shorter and medium routes, you can find some kinks in the armor there. So having Sam Levitt rather than Jeff Sims in that role, at starting quarterback, can maybe help you exploit those shortcomings better. But definitely have to look at the running game, and the situation isn't that great over there. I mean, first of all, this offensive line has to prove that they can effectively run block again against an awesome defensive line for Texas Tech. But now you're really down to one truly healthy running back, which is a number one running back in Raleigh Brown. But Kyson Brown is already listed out for this game. Kanye Udo is listed probable. He was sick, so he missed the Wednesday practice. He did practice on Tuesday, so depending on how close he is to 100%, that's really going to be huge to give Raleigh Brown those breathers. I mean, we know that Kanye Udo has struggled ever since that Texas State contest. So even if he is healthy and playing, he's going to have to prove himself that he can play much better than he has in recent weeks. But if Kanye Udo is not playing all that well, let alone not available, which I'm not expecting to happen, but now you're down to freshmen over there at the running back group, and Demarius Man Robinson and Jason Brown. So how much can Raleigh Brown really take or carry the load on Saturday if he's forced to, just because of the situation with the rest of the running back room? That's going to be a huge factor there. But again, the offensive line, again, potentially playing with not one but two freshmen in the lineup against a very good Texas Tech defensive line. That is not an ideal matchup, to say the least.
Yeah, and for this ASU defense, a pretty uncharacteristic performance at Utah. Gave up 42 points, and the next highest throughout the entire season so far was 24. Utah completely controlled the game on the ground, and this is a Texas Tech team coming in that is very potent offensively. What's ASU's defense going to have to do to slow them down?
When it comes to Texas Tech offense, there is some uncertainty who's going to be the starter or quarterback. Their veteran starter, Baron Morton, is listed as questionable as of Thursday morning, so it's unclear if he will or won't play and what kind of condition he will be when he does play. He's somebody who's more of a statuesque quarterback, if you will. Doesn't really challenge you with his feet, but has put up great numbers so far, averaging 250 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. That's probably the quarterback that ASU would want to face, especially after enduring a very mobile quarterback in Devin Dampierre last week. And Will Hammond, the other quarterback that could start for Texas Tech or maybe even play some stretches, he's only a redshirt freshman, but is somebody who's very dangerous with his feet. He's actually the quarterback that did beat Utah in Salt Lake City a few weeks ago. So I don't know if that's really the matchup that ASU does want to see in terms of the type of quarterback that they're going to face. But overall, even with Will Hammond, it's really a well-oiled machine that definitely not a fluke to see him be undefeated and put up absolute video game numbers up there on the stat sheet. But they're also really a well-rounded unit because their primary running back, Cam Dickey, right now is averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Already has eight touchdowns, averaging 98.5 yards a game. Had over 250 yards rushing last week against Kansas. So again, we talk about what a challenge Utah was on the ground, whether it was running backs or the quarterback, and ASU could have even a bigger challenge in this case. I just think that Texas Tech is a team that even though they have a very, very good passing game, when it comes to the shorter and medium routes, that's something that if you can force them in that direction, and I think Kansas did show somewhat of a blueprint last week, maybe that's some way to slow down this Texas Tech offense. But overall, like you said, Justin, this is a defense that really feels they got a lot to prove after last week. They absolutely want to make a statement that what happened in Salt Lake City was definitely a fluke. But again, when you have an offense like Texas Tech and you're trying to prove all those points, it's definitely easier said than done. I think the ASU defense, if they can just really get back to their normal self, if they can really keep on putting pressure on the quarterback like they have very, very well up until that Utah game, and really just maybe show different looks than they did last week. Maybe they can somewhat slow down this very, very potent Red Raider offense. But just like the ASU offense has her hands full, so over here with the ASU defense, this is just one hell of an opponent that they're facing on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham mentioned throughout practice this week that Texas Tech is the biggest challenge that ASU has faced so far in the Big 12, and obviously coming in at number 7 in the country, undefeated. It's a very tall task for ASU, especially coming off of a road loss like that against Utah. What are the Sun Devils going to have to do to win, and what do you expect to happen?
I definitely think some intangibles are working in ASU's favor. They're back at home. They have not lost at home, all of 2024 season, and obviously this season as well. They're back to being that underdog role where maybe there's less expectations of them to succeed. So maybe that's really the position that ASU likes to be and feels that it can really enjoy more success than being a favorite, let alone a heavy favorite. So they do have that going for them. Again, there's no way to overstate the fact that they want to prove that what happened in Salt Lake City was an absolute aberration, does not reflect the true 2025 ASU team. But going back to the offensive line, had a lot of question marks going into the Utah game, and to me, now without Ben Coleman, even has more question marks going into the Texas Tech contest, because again, the defensive line that they're facing is better than Utah, and we saw what Utah did in terms of their 5 sacks, their 10 tackles for loss. And a guy like left guard Jamito Bigbill really has to prove that he can play much better than he has in the first 6 games. That's something that they have yet to shown. Again, Wade Helton being the probable starter at center, being a redshirt freshman, only his second ever start in college is going to happen this Saturday. How does he deal with a better defensive line that he has to contest with? And the defense, look, I think they're going to play better against Utah, but I also think the burden of proof is on that side of the ball. Because now they're facing a better offense in Texas Tech, an offense that is much more well-rounded, because the Utes didn't really challenge ASU in the air that much. So there's really a lot of unknowns over here that ASU has to deal with, and in my opinion, until the offensive line can prove that they can play much better than they have so far, until the defense can really prove that what happened last week was an aberration, I really have to go with Texas Tech being victorious in this game. So I feel like the Red Raiders are going to win 33-23.
Well, thank you, Hode, for your insight. A big game for ASU here at Mid America Stadium on Saturday at 1 p.m. We'll be here with all the coverage. So to stay locked in, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devil's Digest on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsors in Burrito Express and San Ford. And for publisher Hode Rubino, I'm Justin Lastratosa. We'll talk to you guys soon.